Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Video Mail for the week of January 31st, 2011. 5 video mails this month. That means that it's going to be a big download for the people who want to download all the video mails archived in 2 months. About that, I archive all of the content each month 2 months behind. Why do I do that? Because your subscription would lose its value if I didn't do that, if I just left everything up on the site forever, because then someone could sign up in 2 years and get all of the content that you pay monthly for, right? So that's not fair. So every 2 months I archive it and I put it in the store. So I'm archiving December's content on February 1st. So if you haven't seen all the December content, watch it right now so that you don't miss it before it goes into the store, okay? Even if you do, even if you are a new member and you're watching this after February 1st, all the December content is available in the store for a very huge discount for members, so that you can, if you want to, pay to catch back up to where everyone else is with the content. So February 1st, I'm archiving it. But this is the last video mail for the month of January. It's a very good question that I'm very excited about, so here it is. Thank you for this awesome question. The reason I love this question is because I love cartoony animation, and this is something that I'm going to be talking a little bit more about. Quick little news, I'm going to be speaking at the Evolve conference in Florida, which is the weekend, it's the last weekend of April. It's like April 31st to May 2nd or something like that. It's right in there. And you can check that out at this address and check out all the awesome things that are going to be going on there. If you're in the area, please do come and check it out. Okay. Also, there is going to be a streaming event that you can sign up for and watch the master classes from the comfort of your own home. It's nothing like being there live, so if you're in the area and you can come, please do come. But also there's going to be a streaming event on that as well. I'm also talking, it's crazy, I get this kind of this rush of emails. I'm also talking about doing a conference in the Czech Republic and in Brazil. So if you're in those 2 countries, hang tight, because I'll be visiting you soon. Alrighty, so let's get right to the question. What this question kind of asks is, you know, how do you make sure that you kind of, after you've picked that cartoony impression you want to give, how do you make it really, really, really close to that? And I do have a trick for that. I'm going to actually address that specific noodle, you know, wiggly arm question and show you how I would do it. I did something very similar to this for a shot in production recently. Okay, so let's take a look again at our character. Here's Bloke again. I'm going to give you the scene file so you can take a look at what I've done after you watch this video mail. Okay, so here's our character, and what we're looking for is basically a really nice noodly arm kind of motion. So if you can remember from Horton Hears a Who, the mayor, after he gets those like 95 shots of Novocaine in his arm, he's running around and his arm is kind of going like that. He's like leaving it behind, but it's also like wiggling like that. So how do we do that accurately, or what can we do to make that, to give ourselves a really good base to start from? Okay, so this is what I would do. Let's say this is our character. Hey, buddy. All right. And I'm going to leave the arm in IK that we want to manipulate. All right. But let's say he's running with his arm dragging behind him. Okay. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to make a keyframe right here and then one on 48, and just imagine that he's, if you can, just imagine that he's running forward. And this is basically, his back pose. That is, all right, so that's way too slow, of course. All right, so that's good. Now, we've chosen for the impression we want to give basically like a floppy noodle for his arm. So how do we do that and make it look good? This is what I would do. I'd create a piece of geometry that can basically stand in for the poses I want to get, and then I match that geometry with the pose. So let me show you. I'm going to take this cylinder and I'm going to give it some divisions in height so that it can deform nicely. I'm going to shrink the radius down even more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to position it kind of where his arm is. I'm going to move the pivot up to the top first and then position it over his arm. I'm also going to make it bigger than his arm right now because I do want his arm to stretch. Okay? Now this is basically our stand-in right now. So what we want is we want it to be lagging behind, right? Okay, so I'm going to make a quick offset group. I'm going to show you the outliner. So now it's in a group. And now I'm going to use the chest control or the upper back control to parent constrain this cylinder to the body. So now it moves with the body, right? Since it's free within the group that's parent constrained, I can also animate this cylinder all over the place. So as you can see, it's moving just the way that I predicted, right? Or that I set it. So let's delete all these keys. Let's go back to the first frame. Let's have the arm lagging behind, basically, bending behind. And now let's put a deform on it that will create that wiggly motion. So I'm going to create a nonlinear wave. And what the wave does, if you turn up the amplitude, the wave basically wiggles the arm like that, like you can see, right? So what I'm going to make is the drop off is right at the point where the arm is connecting, basically. And I'm going to move it just back here and then scale it. And you'll learn how to use these deformers, as you go. Okay? So now our offset actually is an animatable channel that gives us, look at that floppy wavy action. Okay? So I'm just going to set a key. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to parent the wave deform to the geometry so it follows the geometry. Then I'm going to animate the offset on the wave itself. I'm going to key it. And then 48 frames later, let's see, maybe 4 flaps is good. Okay? And then, because he starts facing forward and he ends facing, or leaning over like this, I'm just going to animate this up so that it continuously drags behind him. Okay? So now, basically, there's the arm basically wiggling behind him. Same way it was in Horton Hears a Who when his arm goes all limp, right? Now, you can't, from this point onwards, you can't really do anything super automatic with the controls. You could actually create some, locators that you actually rivet to the surface of this object, and those locators could drive the animation controls on the arm, but you're just getting way too complicated. And what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up creating a lot more things that you have to keep track of than you ever really want to. Okay? So The next step is easy. All you have to do is animate the arm, and I'm just setting keys. And let's also make sure this stretches. Animate the arm so that the arm is actually following your object. And obviously I just started with IK because I thought I could actually create a new bend control, or not bend control, but I thought I could control the bend itself, but Bloke doesn't allow that. And that's okay, because we can just pose this in place. So I'm sure I'm going to be doing a little bit of a Julia Child's, pause and like, oh, here's the finished product. So I'm just going to key this real quick. Maybe I'll fast forward it. We'll see. So I decided not to fast forward. Want to know why? Because you guys want to see this. You want to see it happen, right? So what I'm doing is I'm keying on every 5 frames first, and then I'm going to, I don't know why I picked 5, it doesn't really matter. I am eventually going to go down to 2s, so you know that won't matter at all. You could have started on 2s if you didn't want to save any time or redoing. I basically started on 5s because I figured if it looks decent or okay at 5, then maybe I can get away with just doing a few little spot checks here and there. So not trying to really do more work than you have to. I mean, this is fun and all, but we like to also get our stuff done, right? Don't we? So I'm just going to do the first 30 frames so that this doesn't take forever. You'll get the basic idea after the first 4 frames anyway. And what I'm noticing is that I didn't plan on this, but I'm actually kind of keying the extremes, which is good in one way, and it's going to present just a little bit of a problem, which is that all of the extremes are easy to figure out, but the in-between frames might give me some problem because it's shapes that are difficult. So now I'm just going back in between and I'm kind of spot checking where it's getting off. So it's getting off right here, off the shape that I chose. And I'm keying everything. I made a quick select set so that I could key everything at the same time as well. Okay. Now notice here at the elbow, I didn't actually decide to keep the elbow exactly where the object is offsetting right now, because it's more important that the majority of the arm is looking good. Not just, you don't want to just, like, for instance, say like, oh, well, I'm going to, even though I'm selecting them in the order that I'm saying right now, you don't want to say like, oh, I'm going to match the shoulder perfectly, and then I'm going to match the elbow perfectly, and then the wrist, and then the fingers, because then the fingers are never going to get, you know, any love. They're always going to be the one that's the most off the mark there. So you kind of have to pick and choose and give every single part of the arm a little bit of time to shine. So I'm sure you get it by now, but I'm just going to finish what I'm doing. And what I'm loving is I'm loving these poses I get to do where the hand is up, but the fingers are totally bent backwards. Like that. Oh, I love that. It's going to look so funny trailing behind this guy. Okay. So now I have this basically on 2s and 3s, and you know, the last spot check should probably get it on 2s and 1s, because this is a pretty complex action, right? But how simple is this? This is more like a coloring book in terms of the way, you know, in terms of animation, than it really is, you know, keyframing anything. Gave me the motion that I needed to copy, you know, in 2 seconds. I decided on what I wanted it to look like, and here I am. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, after I set this last keyframe, here's another one where I'm not quite getting all the shape that I want out of the arm, but it's okay. And also, you know, Bloke is a very, very good rig because of how simple it is to use, but it's not the most robust in terms of control. So I'm just going to hide this, and let's see what we got over 30 frames. Of course, you can't animate the visibility. Here we go. All right, see, there you go. How fun is that? How sweet is that? Oh, that's so funny. Look at that thing. Oh, that's so cute. Anyway. So I'll give you this scene to play with, and you can see exactly what's going on. I've just had, you know, I'm having so fun just doing these demos for you guys. It's really a blast. So thank you for that awesome question. My tip, really, to speed up your cartoony actions is, once you've chosen something that is a really interesting, kind of intricate physical representation of the cartoony action you want to get, I love creating guide geometry, is what you can call it. All right, trademark anywhere. And there you go. Oh, that was such a blast to look at. And that was first try. I didn't play blast or even watch it at speed. That was literally first try, first time keying all the way through, and look at the result you get right off the bat. So it's a lot of fun. All right. Thanks so much for the awesome question. If you want to see your question answered in an Ask Videomail in the future, you need to send your question in. Send it to webmaster@kennyroy.com. and you'll get a video probably sometime in the future. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the site. Don't forget to refer members and earn those referral bonuses. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you are too. Good luck with your animation, and as always, rock on.